So let's start. Of course, you are mostly welcome to say whatever you think. Also, Zoomies, whenever you want to interact, just step in, because not always I'm aware of you. So just open your mic and talk. So all of our discussion is how to reduce attachment. And the sutra that we're going to read today, it's the sutra of a living being. The question that somebody came to the Buddha and asked, who is a living being? Sentient being, maybe. Not just a living being, but a sentient being. And Tanisaru Bhikkhu is the one that translated the version in English that I sent you. He's a very impressive monk. He's in the Thai forest tradition. He's living in the States. He's American. He has a website of his own. He translated over 1,000 sutras. He's brilliant. He gives lots of teachings full of YouTubes. He's a very, very impressive teacher. And based on what he says, he's giving us like a framework for all the sutras that we read about attachment and non-attachment. He says there are two ways in which we can cut attachment. And he's focusing us to pay attention. The mind is not bound, lo kavul, by the objects of the consciousnesses. It is bound by attachment itself, by this state of mind that is deluded, that craves for things. And he said, if you want to cut desire, craving, attachment, grasping, there are two ways to approach this process. One of them is to be more and more aware of the disadvantages of desire. Desire as not as aspiration, but as craving that is a deluded state of mind. The more we have clear vision of reality, the more we understand why attachment is not good for us. Each time it comes, we have a bit more awareness and choice if to fuel it and to cultivate it or not. To be aware of the consequences of how do I feel when I have attachment in my mind. So this is one way. The other way is not to focus on my mind, but to focus on the object of desire and to try to demolish it, to destroy it in such a way that it will not be attractive for desire anymore. This is the sutra that we're going to read today. It goes here. It's a very nice, short, but very nice sutra. The Buddha says, look at children that play in the beach and they build the castles from sand, right? And when they build the castle, they take so much pleasure in it. And they have some possession, right? This is my castle and they have some attachment to it and so much joy, and they are fully invested in it. And then when the desire goes away, you can see that suddenly they lose interest and they even destroy their own castle, right? They kick it with their legs, they smash it all around, and they just go and they are totally neutral and equanimous about it. And he says, like they destroy their castle of sand, you destroy your desire towards the five aggregates. So it's a very interesting sutra. It takes us to another channel that we didn't discuss so far, how to destroy the object in such a way that it will not be interesting to play with anymore. It's not an object of interest of my attachment anymore. There's no object of desire. Okay, so we'll see it today. What we saw so far is 3 sutras. I'm not sure that we read the last one, so I need to ask you because I don't remember. The first one was the sutra for the mayor. You remember? That he said, I suffer when some people in my town suffer because I have attachment for them. And I don't suffer when some people in my town suffer because I don't have attachment for them. And then we saw that attachment, we called it, is the close enemy of love. It narrows the heart. It creates a split. Pitzul. Me and them. This, me, my people, my friends, this I'm interested, all the rest I don't care. And attachment is really the seed that creates a split In human spirit, they always say that split is the root of all of our suffering. Not for just split for me and Nitzan, but even split between me and myself. Between my behavior now and my potential for real love and open heart for everyone. Each time you have this split, there's a source of suffering. And attachment is really creating this split, my people and others. And we said in some context that sometimes attachment is disguising itself as a friend, even though it's an enemy. It's like a thief that steals our happiness, but it disguises itself like a friend because you think it supports you and it's good for you to have this split, to take care of your own group and to reject others. I could meet, some friends now that I have many encounters and we discuss the situation. And I say to a friend, I'm worried. I'm worried about what we do in Gaza. How many dead they have. I'm worried. And I got so many times the reaction that is said very comfortably. I don't care. I don't care about them. And I'm not ashamed to say, they say it like this, I'm not ashamed to say, I don't care about them. And sometimes people are ashamed of saying their hidden side. When they realize it's not something so appreciated, they're ashamed to say. I had a friend that she's single, and she's quite old, like she's my age, and she's single. And now everybody is suffering for their husband is either in the army or reserve, or their children is. And she said, even now the situation is more emphasizing for me how I'm not included in the norm of Israel because I'm not married and I don't have children. But she was so ashamed to say that, as if it's not legitimate now. So it was really hard for her to say. But people that are driven by attachment, they have no shame. They think it's a good way of, it's a positive state of mind. They say, I don't care about them. And for me, it's really like, I'm not judging, I'm just observing. Because the first part is to observe how attachment influences our mind. I have my attached territories as well. It's not that I'm clean of it. But it's interesting to see how you create a split, how you push away, and you feel comfortable with it. And this is what we saw on the first sutra of the mayor. The second sutra, we saw 5 analogies that Buddha is really trying to show us that when attachment arises, it creates lots of suffering, because we don't think that attachment creates suffering. We think attachment is a friend. And this is why it is here to really understand the disadvantages. And he said, you remember there was an analogy of a hungry dog that the butcher throws away a bone, but it's totally clean from the meat. So he thinks that this can satisfy his hunger, but basically is just tiring himself because there is no substance there. So he becomes upset. And many times attachment is like this. You project something on the object which is not there. And then when you try to get what you fantasize, you just get upset because it will never fulfill your fantasies. He talked about the danger in attachment, that how far can we go in this drive to fulfill our fantasies? Like a torch that the wind is changing direction and suddenly the fire is coming towards me and can burn me. That sometimes our desires can harm us. He talked about the delusional aspect. It's like you dream of beautiful gardens and beautiful pools and beautiful lotus flowers, but then you wake up and there's nothing there. So he was really trying to show us these things and very strong analogies so it stays in our mind. So next time that I have attachment, maybe one of the analogies will come to my mind and I could consider. Maybe it's not as attractive as I'm thinking. So these 2 sutras showing us the disadvantages of attachment, so we can choose our way wisely. Did we do the 5 reflections? No. So I'm going to do them now. So I'm skipping a bit because we talked about it. This one. It's a sutra that... The what?
Obvious.
It's
obvious.
This is the other side of the same coin. It doesn't say what are the disadvantages of attachment, but it gives you seeds to see reality as it is, and then you have peace of mind when you don't have attachment. So it shows the other way around. I read it in Hebrew and then in English. בדרך הטבע אני אזדקן, אין מנוס מזקנה. בדרך הטבע אני אחלה, אין מנוס ממחלה. בדרך הטבע אני אמות, אין מנוס ממוות. בדרך הטבע כל היקר לי והאהוב עליי ישתנה, אין מנוס מפרידה. מעשיי הם רכושי היחיד, הם הקרקע מתחת לרגליי, אין מנוס מתוצאות מעשיי. So just by nature, I'm gonna grow old. There's no way of escaping growing old. By nature, I'm gonna be ill or sick. There is no way of escaping sickness. The way of the nature, I'm gonna die. There's no way to escape death. Everything that is dear to me or close to me or loved ones will change. There is no way to avoid separation. My actions are my only belongings. They are the ground under my feet, and there's no way to escape the results of my actions. Many people take this sutra to be their daily reflection. And if you remember when we discussed non-attachment, he wants to get in. He needs diversity. Suffering of change. Pleasant outside, pleasant inside, pleasant outside, pleasant inside. Like we do all the time. Yeah, he's going to be a monk next life, I said so. When we discussed non-attachment, Geshe Tashi said, reflect on the real nature of things, and each time you do that, it puts seeds for non-attachment. As if non-attachment is really involved with wisdom, with seeing in a very clear way reality. And this is what we do to put seeds of non-attachment. Nobody can avoid the very basic sufferings of the body, aging, sickness, death. Nobody can avoid. If I'm reflecting on it daily, I can live while accepting this, so I can do my choices of living, and I can accept these things when they happen. Not recently, I was visiting my younger sister in Tivon, and I took the youngest daughter of hers to a walk in the forest there. And just on the entrance of the forest, there is a graveyard. And we walk, and she's 8 years old, and Luli says to me, don't look there, it's very sad. Yeah. Don't look at that direction, it's very sad. And I told her, why? You know that in France, we always go to the cemetery, and we always look at this, and it's a very beautiful place, and it holds lots of love, and it's part of life. And she was not open to any of my thoughts. She says, no, don't. And I wanted even to offer her, let's go and explore it together, but she was 8. And already this is so strong in her mind. So how much we are afraid of death, that when it comes, we cannot bear it. I remember when I was in India once, a while ago. I was in some Ayurvedic clinic, and I met a girl that her mother was Buddhist. So she grew up in a Buddhist framework, like way of thinking. And she told me, my mother told me ever since I was very young, that one thing in my life is certain, and it's only mine. Nobody can take it away from me. And I said, what? And she said, my own death. And I was so surprised. I was not even aware of these teachings or this way of thinking. And I was so surprised. And I said, but why is it good to be aware of your own death? And she says, this is mine, and nobody can take it away from me. And as if, her eyes was even shining. She was not afraid. She was not afraid. She was like in full acceptance. Think how many things you can say when you go towards enlightened, this is mine, nobody can take it away, and it's a positive state of mind. Usually it's clinging, right? This is mine, nobody can take it away. But with your own death, it's a positive understanding. So when we reflect on these things, everything that is close to me or dear to me will change. There will be separation. So if I know that there is separation, I can choose better choices while we are not separated yet. And I can be prepared for that separation and live my life accordingly. So the more I do that, the more I open my mind and I start to cultivate non-attachment state of mind. So the more I cultivate this, less attachment is growing because I start to counteract it in my mind. And the last one, my actions are my only belongings. They are the ground under my feet. This talks about karma. And this is very common in sutras. There is a very short sutra that talks about how to deal with anger. And the Buddha gives 5 antidotes: love, compassion, patience, equanimity. But then the last one is karma again. So I read in Hebrew first. כשמתעורר בכם כעס על אדם מסוים, עליכם להרהר בעובדה שהוא תוצר של פעולותיו. האדם הנכבד הזה הוא בעליהן של פעולותיו, יורשן של פעולותיו, נולד מתוך פעולותיו, קשור, אין המפלט שלו. הוא יהיה היורש של הפעולות המזיקות או המיטיבות שהוא יעשה. When you have anger on a certain person, you need to reflect on the fact that he's the result of his own actions. This person is the owner of his actions, the one that will inherit his actions. He's born from his actions, tied to his actions. This is his refuge. I don't know. Probably not refuge, but I don't know. He will inherit the positive and the negative actions that he will do. And this is an interesting way of thinking. I open it to your discussion. Tell me, what do you think? This is in relation to anger, as if he hurts me. But Buddha says, take yourself out of the equation and just look at his continuum, at this person continuum. I'm not a part of the game. He hurt me, I'm angry now, but put yourself aside and look at his continuum. He's going to suffer. If he did negativity, he's going to suffer because this is the law of karma. And he's going to be bound to his actions and their results, regardless of me in the frame. Okay, and once you understand that, there's another way of putting seeds for less anger and more non-attachment, is understanding the real way that things work. Not me and my ego and how he did it to me. His continuum. Sure. Wait.
I had to hear those words 2 days before. Because yesterday I arrived to my house and I saw in the grass in front of my house a car parking, and he didn't let my husband's car go out. I was so angry. How did that person park in that place? So I called the pakahim, okay, of the area, and I wanted them to come and to punish this person. Mm-hmm. And so they came, the policemen came, and I was there until I saw they pushed the ticket, the dog, the fine, yes. And I wanted to, I asked them, how much money is going to pay that person? I want to know, because it's 200 shekels, it's not like nothing. No, don't worry, 730. So I say, oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah, and I was there. And they went. And I was going out from my house and looking when the person, I knew it was a woman, because they called her and she said, oh yes, I'm coming. She came an hour later. That it was like, for me, more anger, more, yes. So when she came, I was angry at her, and she said, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see that it was a grass. How? Didn't you see that it's not a road, it's grass? Oh, and did you see that you stopped that car from going out? Oh, no, I didn't notice. I'm so sorry. And it was like, and now I could call her and I could be more, like more dharma in our relationship. But at that moment, it's like I wanted to kill her. Yeah? Yes, it was like it. And I say something, Yael. I say there is a moment, in the moment that happens something, it's like you want to explode. When I hear about the soldiers, I hear about what's going on, it's like I want to explode. And then it's like, you know, bringing all those thoughts, it's like you are calming your mind, but the instinct is like you want to kill someone.
Yes, that's the power of the habit. That's the power of the habit. But we need to remember, if I have anger in my mind, it's because I cultivated it many lifetimes, including this one. If I have anger in my mind, it's not this extra driver that was injecting anger to my mind. It's mine. My anger is mine. She's just a trigger, right? We said there is a substantial cause and cooperative conditions. You remember? When you want to have a tomato tree or tomato bush, you need the seed of the tomato, you need all the conditions. But without the seed of the tomato, the conditions will not do anything. The substantial cause is in my continuum, my anger, my hatred, my impatience, my love, my compassion, my patience, everything I cultivated is mine. All the outside is external triggers, catalyzers. They activate it, but the anger is mine. So the more we do that, because everything we do with attachment can work on anger as well, then we can balance it sometimes afterwards, after a long time, sometimes short, immediately after, and sometimes even during, and sometimes even before. This is the process. This is what we try to do. But the fact that we have anger, of course we do. We are full of seeds. There's no need to feel ashamed or guilty. We just need to observe and to know how to work with it. So we observe each time I have anger in situations that I didn't expect, or it comes so easily and so often. And I say to myself, okay, still many seeds, still automatic reactions, it's still there. And I keep on working because we accumulate the causes to transform, right? I cannot tell you, be relaxed now. We accumulate the causes to create a peaceful state of mind. I cannot tell you, be with no anger. We accumulate the causes to create a balanced mind, but this takes time. But everything we do, every reflection, every thinking, every practice is accumulating the causes. At one point, I'll have less and less manifestations of anger. I guess the people that do a while on the path already see that there is some kind of change, no? Otherwise, we will not keep on practicing, no? There is hope. So this sutra offers these things that are painful for us to reflect on them, to reduce attachment. I'm offering an extra. I want to add a new edition on Buddha, to add on these things also hope. Because I see so many people with despair around me, as if they see no light, no hope, no light. Everything is so painful and so depressing that they hold no hope. And I'm thinking hope is as valid as aging, sickness, and death. I don't see any difference. To know that we all have Buddha nature. To know that we all can transform. Even the worst being on earth can transform because his mind is empty. He's not stuck on anything. Everybody can transform. Not in this lifetime, next lifetime, not in this measure, in that measure, but everybody can transform. And I think for me, what helps me to bear this time is that when I do reflection on things that I think open clear vision for me, Riyat Tzlula, I also reflect on the things that hold hope. Because I think to disregard Buddha nature and to disregard things that cultivate hope, it's also a deluded state of mind. Okay, and the result is very painful. So I'm offering you, when you do these reflections, add also things that take hope and open heart, because this is what we try to do. To keep an open heart even when it's really, really, really difficult.
I think the last one is the hope. The fifth one is the hope, because it says the ground, and I can I can change it. I think Rubina Kletin also very says that when she learned about karma, she received a lot of hope and a lot of because you can change it.
Yes. Do I need to change the הרמקול פה עובד? שהשתקת קודם? אני בסדר? שומעים אותי? נעמי, you hear me? Yes. Yes. Yes.
I wanted to say in this regard that the first three statements they seem to me somehow
את צריכה לכבות את שלך.
maybe I dare say that
את צריכה לכבות את
not
שלך כדי
technically
שזה לא יהיה
correct,
אקו.
because the Buddha does teach that there is a way out of samsara. So that seems technically not correct. I mean, that's technically correct for us right now, but not technically correct on the wider scope.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, this is very true. I need to do something. It starts automatically. That's very true. Buddha was teaching according to the capacity of his disciples. There's no very well organized theoretical framework. People came to him and he gave the answer that they needed at their level. So this is true that this is aiming for ordinary beings, without being aryas, without having a mental body, without going out of samsara. But for most of us, when we are ordinary beings, then this is part of our life at the moment. As long as you have contaminated aggregate, appropriated contaminated aggregates taken under the power of karma and afflictions, you need to reflect on them. Hopefully, but this is holding the hope, not always. At one point we say, oh, I'm over it. I'm out of samsara. Yeah, we would be there. That's a good reminder. That's a good reminder. Okay. So when we talk about non-attachment, because I want to just to emphasize, remember, it's not a state of, when we talk about non-attachment, it's not a state of detachment, adishut or nikur. It's a state that it does not crave, is not deluded, is not panicking that something not like the way I want it to happen happens. Right? What attachment does? It makes the mind so narrow, it must be only the way I want. While non-attachment is accepting whatever comes, because you don't crave, you don't grasp, your mind is so wide that you can deal with whatever comes. Even painful parts, right? Because they just accept painful parts. And I think that's why it is really non-attachment is very connected to the first noble truth. The first noble truth about true suffering, non-attachment is there. Because think of us now, how difficult it is to be in touch with suffering without being overwhelmed or afflicted or in pain or wishing for a different reality. If only, if only. And I project whatever I want. But this is not reality, my if only. If only it was like in my projections. But if you really accept the first noble truth, there is no if only. And there is no attachment here. So that's why, we call it noble truth. Why noble? Why there are truths for the noble ones? Why noble?
Because if you accept this truth, this makes you somehow noble.
Yes, but how does it make you noble? Yes, only noble ones have direct experience of these things. But what does it mean noble?
Maybe because they accept reality as it is.
Yes, look how much power there is. When you see reality as it is, when you accept reality as it is, you become an Arya being. Arya is superior. Superior on what? On the afflictions. They lose their power over me. There is no more craving or grasping or anger when you see emptiness directly, when you see things as they are. If I really am able to accept suffering as it is, afflictions have no power over me. Look how much power there is just in willing to be in contact with painful things. How releasing it is, how much freedom is there. It's strange, right? Because everybody says when you start to study Buddhism, everybody says it's a pessimistic way of view, right? You deal with suffering all the time, very pessimistic. Let's go to the secret. Asod. Think positive, you'll have positive. You say, I want to be rich, you summon richness, everything will be fine, right? And people say, but Buddhism is pessimistic. And at first I thought so too. It took me time to understand that when you are really accepting reality, there's a lot of freedom there. It's really the secret of opening the heart and lots of freedom.
It's the freedom of thinking about it.
Of
thinking about it. Why is it like this?
Yes.
Like that?
Fighting with reality, right? Yes.
I also think it's because if you mistake reality for something else, you have little chance of actually doing something, because if you're something that you suppose that is there, that it's right, and you act on it, you won't get the result. So the only option to get the real result is first to accept what there is and then act based on that.
Yeah. Yeah. What do I need to do? You need to teach me
function
function.
yes.
So last thing, and then we'll do a break, and then the sutra. Non-attachment is such an open state of mind that there are some philosophical schools like Vaibhashika that defines it as Arya nature. You know, Buddha nature. I talk all the time about Buddha nature. In Prasangika school, it means that the mind is empty. But there are few philosophical schools. Prasangika is the highest. There are few philosophical schools. One of them, the first one, that grasp into more realistic view, what you see is what you get. They discuss how can somebody evolve on the path. So they don't say Buddha nature because they don't think that everybody can be a Buddha. They call it Arya nature, which means superior on the afflictions. Good enough for us at the moment. What allows you to be Arya for Vaibhashika is non-attachment. Is non-attachment. For them, this is the definition of the potential of transformation of the mind. Look how big this factor of non-attachment is. For them, if you have non-attachment in your mind, this is the potential to transform. As long as you grasp, you cannot transform. It's really, they look at a virtuous mental factor as a potential to transform. So they say being satisfied with simple monastic robes, because each monk get 2 sets of robes. And sometimes you get a robe that was worn by many other monks before, so it can be a bit old, fabric. I saw it in Nalanda. A new monk comes and he gets something that sometimes has a little hole, and sometimes this is what you get. Yeah. But being satisfied with that, whatever you have, you don't have any wish, I want something better. Or being satisfied with simple dwellings. You get your room or tent or grass in the monastic place, and that's it. And you're happy with your home. Dwellings is home, where you abide, where you stay. And how many times you have, but I need some more comfort. I want this and I want that. Dishwasher. You know, people that go to India and Dharamkot, which is very simple way of life, and they stay there for a while, and then they go to Dharamsala and they buy all the little accessories, right? And if they stay for a while, after a while, you go into the room, it's like a little palace. They have everything they want. So being satisfied, because the energy goes for this does not matter. What matters is cultivating my mind, so I don't care if I have a tablecloth. Being satisfied with simple alms. They used to beg for food. Alms is the way they used to go in the village and beg for food. And then each one with the monks comes with what he got, and they open a big meal. Then you get what you get. But he's craving, no, but I want his, they say in Nalanda, they say, eat just to satisfy the body. Right? We usually don't eat just to satisfy the body. This is non-attachment. just to satisfy the body. And if we have all the three, we don't crave for anything. We understand that this is not the root of our happiness, and it has no meaning really. And it just bound us and reduce our mental capacity. If we let go of this, then the fourth one is able to flourish, like taking great delight in eliminating afflictions and meditate.
Like in the 12 links, if there's no craving, there's no becoming. So it's like, it's basically the way out of samsara. No?
Yes, yes. If we do the 12 links, if you know the 12 links, then craving and grasping is what nourishes the seed that pushes me to another cycle of life. And if you stop craving and grasping, that's why they say that attachment really produces suffering, because this is what really pushes me for next life. So all this craving and grasping, how much is bounding us to our habits, to our fantasies, to our samsaric existence, to our suffering. Do you want to share some thoughts or ideas or stories or? Yeah.
Yeah, I had incident. I met a good friend of mine. I met a good friend of mine from high school that we're in touch all those years, and she's. We have differences in our political views, and she heard that we went abroad to meet Maya, and she was furious, and she didn't tell me anything because she was sure she knew why I went and what's the reason that I went, and she judged me not in front of me, and she just tried to crucify me. And we decided to meet. I didn't know anything about her anger, and we met for coffee. We bought the coffee. We sat down, and she started boom at me, and she said, "You're a fat nefesh. You're this and this and that," and she's really. לא מאיה, חברה. נסענו לבקר את ה... We went to visit our daughter, and she lives abroad, and we went to visit her for a week during the war.
And the friend was criticizing her for
Yeah, she was really... Yeah, she lives in Israel, yeah.
She was angry that you left.
Yeah, that I left, and she never asked me, and she carried it inside her for 2 months. Not saying anything, and we were in touch all the time.
Yeah.
And then, but I didn't meet her, and we met, and she started, and I sat there like, you know what? Yeah, really shocked, and it was a short conversation, and then I got up and I left. And because I said I'm not going to take this abuse, I don't want to take this abuse, you know. I just left, and then I was hurt, and it took me time to. But and then it started working, you know, everything we talked about now. And today I sent her a message and I said, you know, I love you, and I'm sorry if I hurt you when we sat down and we talked. But think about friendship and think about, you know, you carried it for 2 months, the anger, and you judged me not in front of me and never asked me what I think about it and what made me take this decision. And I just let it go, and it was completely
Amazing.
quiet. And
It's a full transformation.
yeah, it's really, it was so easy, you know. It was really, because I had incidents like this, like all of us, from time to time, and I just, yeah, she can think whatever she wants, and I love her, and it's okay. It's
amazing.
Yeah, so that's the other side of the story of anger.
Yeah. That we can process it and work with it up to a level that we have full peace.
Yeah.
Even better, you opened your heart again. You said I love you.
Yeah. It took me time. It took me 3 days.
That's not a lot.
No.
That's not a lot, but it's also, you know, it's very interesting.
It doesn't matter the time. Yeah.
No, 3 days is
Yeah.
But see how much attachment closes the heart, because your friend has a strong attachment to her views. I decide that nobody is allowed to leave the country because of my opinion. And then somebody dares to do something that is different from my views. Look how much anger. Look how much rejection. See how much attachment is the seed of all bad qualities, right? Because You just have attachment to your view. I decide that somebody cannot do something, and then if somebody dares to do something opposite to my mind, how I cannot bear it? It's a result, and I think we are all touched by it, a result of over 10 years of splitting and dividing and causing everyone in Israel to hate anybody who is a bit different. And I think it affects everyone so strongly that now we need so much of active work to counteract it, that if you are not fully aware, it just controls you. So somebody is doing something I would not do that. That's a reason for anger. That's a reason to hold so much anger. And you see it everywhere. Somebody says something that I don't agree, somebody does something that I don't agree. The rejection and the hatred that are rooted in this nation now is just...
No, but it's not only Israel.
Yeah, I experienced it here very strongly, but probably in other places as well, yes. Yeah.
Again, on the end that I experienced not only it to people's outside of my family, but also to my children. They all the time do things that I consider that better be done somehow else. For example, I don't know, they should go early to bed because they have an early start tomorrow and they will feel better and we can do in the morning something that we have to do. I don't know, they shouldn't throw their food somewhere, and it happens all the time. So I recommend children as a good training device for your good.
Yes.
For your Buddhist
Yes. You know that there is a relatively a new book of Lama Zopa, I think maybe it's not new, but I'm aware of it newly, that says, I don't know, Buddhist parents, successful children, something like this. I'm twisting the name, but the thing is that if you grow children with a Buddhist perspective, when it says successful, it doesn't mean career, and it means well-being.
Yeah.
So children are two-sided. I can practice with them a lot,
Yeah.
and I can show them the modeling, the right modeling for well-being.
I think it's the same because when you practice, they learn.
Yeah.
Like when you practice violence or anger.
Yeah. Yes. That's a wonderful modeling. Shall we do a little break?
I just wanted to ask.
Yes. I'm not sure you. Okay.
Does non-attachment have like a technical definition?
Yes. 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 And it's not even. I will tell you in a second. Virtuous mental factor is non-attachment. I will tell you.
Yep.
Non-attachment. Non-attachment. Yes, but sometimes the definition is just the opposite of attachment. So non-attachment is a lack of attachment to cyclic existence and the articles of cyclic existence, means all the temptations of cyclic existence. No. Acting as a support for non-engagement in misconduct, because every mental factor has a function. They have a definition and a function. The function is acting as a support for non-engagement in misconduct, which means avoiding negativities. Geshe Dorje Damdul, the ones who know him, he says that non-attachment is involved with each and every virtuous mental factor. Everything virtuous that you do, non-attachment is there.
Say it again.
That non-attachment is in the basis of every virtuous mental factor. Each time I practice something beneficial, something positive, non-attachment is there. You practice real generosity, non-attachment is there because you don't want the things you give, right? The definition of generosity is giving something without wanting it back. So I have non-attachment to my possessions or the gain and the respect I have if I have these possessions. If I cultivate patience, then I have non-attachment to my pride. For example, if somebody harms me and I can bear it. If I practice wisdom, I have non-attachment because I don't project on things that are not there. So I don't have these delusions on things. So I have wisdom, which goes with non-attachment. Every virtuous mental factor goes with non-attachment. So basically it means you don't have this craving state of mind, not to existence, to cyclic existence, and not to all the temptations. And this serves as a basis to pull you on the more virtuous side of actions, and not non-virtuous. They always like, they really like double negation, non-engagement in misconduct. They really like double negation, but this is the Tibetan style.
מה הסיבה בעצם שבחרת עכשיו את הנושא כל כך נהדר הזה שלה? היא אחזות בגלל המלחמה?
כן, כן. אני לא יודעת אם אתם שומעים אותי, מרוב שלחצתי לא לחצתי. שומעים אותי? אתה יודע?
כן, אנחנו גם לדבר.
אני יכולים גם לדבר. טוב. גידי שואל למה בחרתי את הנושא של האחזות, ולא, כי אני חושבת שהאחזות זה שורש הפיצול. English. Gidi asked why did I choose this topic, because I think really that attachment is the root of split, and we are really splitting very strongly now with the war. And I thought it's a good approach to start and work from there, because it's also okay to accept the level we are in now. Nobody jumps above his capacity. So if I cannot show some compassion to some people, it's okay, that's my level at the moment. But we start to accumulate causes to wider our perspective. So from this knowledge, I think, and from this reflection, we can go there that maybe at one point. Yang Rinpoche says the impossible is possible. So what seems impossible for me now, with the right cultivation, can be possible. So that's why I chose it. So if you want a last thing, and then we go for the break. David Grossman is a famous writer, a very left-wing, very human, very compassionate, very smart, very wise. If you try to look for his books, if they are translated, he's a fascinating writer. And he lost his son that was a soldier in 2006 in one of our wars. So he's a bit more accepted all around, because he's criticizing a lot the government and many things that happened. But now that he's a father that lost his son, as if he gave the biggest sacrifice, then he's more accepted, I think, even in other parts of the population. So I read it in Hebrew. He got a little reward or something in Holland in 22. So it was before the war. And the name of the speech is The Thinking Heart. That the heart holds wisdom as well as compassion. The thinking heart. And I'm showing it because I said that non-attachment is related to accepting the first noble truth. How can you accept suffering and keep your heart open? This is accepting the first noble truth. And he says like this. I'll do in Hebrew and then. אני אדם חילוני בתכלית. אינני יכול להאמין באלוהים שיעזור לי לעמוד מול התוהו של הקיום. והנה הכתיבה לימדה אותי את הדרך לחוות בו זמנית תחושה מחרידה של עין, של צלילה לתוך אובדן ושלילה מוחלטת של החיים, ביחד עם הרגשה חריפה של חיוניות, של מלאות החיים וחיוב שלהם. גם אחרי אסון שקרה לי, כאשר משפחתנו איבדה במלחמה את בננו אורי, למדתי שהדרך המאפשרת לי לעמוד בכפילות הזאת, כפילות היש והעין, שהיא בעיניי מהות הקיום האנושי, היא להיות שרוי ככל האפשר במימד של יצירה, של אומנות. הוא מצא את דרכו להכיל את הכאב הכי גדול שיש, את השלילה המוחלטת של החיים, האובדן והשלילה המוחלטת של החיים, יחד עם חיוניות ומלאות. לא רק זה, אני חושבת שזה אפילו נדמה שמתוך האם הוא יוצר את היש. ועוד אחד בדיוק באותה רוח, ואז אני, in a second I'll translate, רונה רמון, כולם ערים לאובדן שם, אנחנו כל הזמן בתהליך של געגוע, וכל הזמן בתהליך של החמצה. אז צריך לשמור על איזון קבוע בין מה שאין לנו, למה שנמצא. לבחור לצמוח גם מתוך החושך, לזכור שהכאב הוא לעולם, ולדעת שיש דרך גם ממקום של חוסר לחיות את החיים במלואם. זה ממש הנושא של אם יש non-attachment, אפשר לפגוש את האמת הראשונה, ואז אפשר לצמוח ולהכיל גם את הכאב בלי שהוא ינהל אותנו ככה שזה ימחק חלקים אחרים. כמה כוח יש בזה? So I'm saying that we said that non-attachment is opening the heart and you can be really in touch with the first noble truth of knowing suffering. So David Grossman said that his way of dealing with the pain of life, because he lost his son, and the pain is so horrible, and yet on the other side, he knows that life are so full and positive, and he's like vibrant and vivid. And he says, my way to deal with that is to write. When I use my creativity and I write and I have the art, I can do this double aspect of there is something and there isn't. Like there is full life, but the lack of, or the pain of loss. And he can combine through his way, like he found his way to deal with both. And it even seems that from the pain he grows. And he has like such a positive perspective of life through his pain. And there's another example of Rona Ramon that we used to have an Israeli astronaut, one Israeli astronaut that was on the spaceship that exploded. I don't remember the year or the details.
2002, I think.
2002.
Yeah.
So she lost her husband. He was the astronaut, his wife Israel. And then after many years, her son became a pilot and crashed also. So she lost a son and a husband. And she also talks about the fact that we need to balance the pain and the living fully life, like that you grow from the darkness or from the pain. Like it's really examples of people who suffered a lot and found their way to deal with that in a way that it doesn't destroy their life or their capacity, but on the contrary, it nourishes it in some way. So yeah. Let's hope that next rebirth will be easier, because I think she did so much growth on this one that maybe it will serve as a cause that next life will be much, much easier. Okay, let's do a little break. We can take 20 minutes. Okay. So I think it's time to read the sutra that we talked so much about. And I don't know where to find it.
It's in the PDF. It's in the matzaget or in that place?
This.
Where is the Hebrew one?
Okay. Did you see the sutra in advance? Yeah. So it's okay if I do in Hebrew? Okay. אז בואו נקרא את הסוטרה. התרגום פה, כהרגלו מאתגר אותי, כי מדובר על ארמונות בחול. זה מה שהוא כותב בכותרת, ארמונות בחול, אבל כשהוא מתרגם בסוטרה עצמה, הוא קורא לזה בתי אפר. שזה תמוה.
למה זה דווקא?
כי כאילו הוא רואה את המהות ולא את מה שאני...
איפה באפר, לא יודעת, צריך מוות, פרמננס.
בתי אפר, כן, אבל... כן, אז אתם יכולים לשחק עם זה, או ארמונות בחול או בתי אפר. אוקיי. ליד סבתי. כשישב הנכבד רדה לצד אחד, אמר לנעלה זאת, חי, חי, ככה נכבד נאמר, באיזה מובן מישהו נקרא חי? חי, living being או sentient being. מה מגדיר מישהו כחי? תראו, זה קריאה כזאת חזרתית, כן? אז תיכנסו למוד מדיטטיבי. כל חשק, כל תאווה, כל התענגות ביחס לגוף רדה, מי שנצמד אליהם נאחז בהם, הוא נקרא חי. כל חשק, כל תאווה, כל התענגות ביחס לתחושה, מי שנצמד אליהם נאחז בהם, הוא נקרא חי. כל חשק, כל תאווה, כל התענגות ביחס לתפיסה, מי שנצמד אליהם נאחז בהם, הוא נקרא חי. כל חשק, כל תאווה, כל התענגות ביחס למושגים, מי שנצמד אליהם נאחז בהם, הוא נקרא חי. כל חשק, כל תאווה, כל התענגות ביחס לתודעה, מי שנצמד אליהם נאחז בהם, הוא הנקרא חי. וממש רדה, כשם שילדים או ילדות משתעשעים בבתי עפר, ארמונות בחול, כן? ועוד לא שכחה תאוותם, לא שכח חשקם, לא שכחו רגשותיהם, לא שכח צמאונם, לא שכחה להיטותם, לא שכחה השתוקקותם כלפי בתי עפר אלו. הם דבקים בהם, משתעשעים בהם, מעריכים אותם ונוהגים בהם ברכושנות. אבל כאשר אצל אותם ילדים או ילדות תאוותם שכחה, חשקם שכח, רגשותיהם שכחו, צמאונם שכח, להיטותם שכחה, השתוקקותם שכחה כלפי בתי עפר, הם מפזרים אותם בידיהם ורגליהם, מפרקים אותם, מחריבים אותם ומשביתים את המשחק בהם. ממש כך רדה, פזר, הרק, החרב והשבט את המשחק בגוף, התקדם בהרס ההשתוקקות. הרק, פזר, החרב והשבט את המשחק בתחושה, התקדם בהרס ההשתוקקות. פזר, פרק, החרב והשבט את המשחק בתפיסה, התקדם בהרס ההשתוקקות. פזר, פרק, החרב והשבט את המשחק במושגים, התקדם בהרס ההשתוקקות. פזר, פרק, החרב והשבט את המשחק בתודעה, התקדם בהרס ההשתוקקות. כי הרס ההשתוקקות רדה היא נירוונה. So the story of like the children that likes to play with sand castles and then they destroy them. What do you say? What do you think?
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Can you see any concrete application of that? Like how do we apply it to our daily life? What do we do with this instruction? Because the sutras are instructions, personal instructions for practice. So what am I supposed to do now?
I like it. Refrigerator, go destroy it.
How can we apply to destroy basically all the five aggregates, right? It's going one by one, all the five aggregates: form, feeling, discrimination, composition factors, and consciousness. Form, attachment to the body. We have lots of attachment to our body. We have lots of attachment to bodies of others. Feeling, it's this really strong tendency to experience only pleasant things all the time, and really strong aversion from the unpleasant. Compositional factors, it's all the mental factors. For example, attachment for views, what your friend had. Strong attachment for views, right? You cannot leave the country in a time of war. This is attachment for views. Discrimination, connected to views, and consciousness is compositional factors, the mental factors, views, karma. How can I apply it? How can I destroy my object of attachment in such a way that my craving mind will not find anything to hold on to? Because this is what he's instructing us. He says, take your object of desire and destroy it such that your craving mind will not find anything to hold on to. How do we do that? Yeah.
Even before asking how we do it, I admit that I don't understand that we have why it is said that we have attachment for our consciousness. Like, for example, consciousness, I think it's not mental factors, it's specifically consciousness. So what does it mean to have attachment to consciousness? Why we have it? And also attachment to discernment, discrimination. Why do we really have attachment to discrimination?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Okay. Attachment to consciousness, that's a good question. I think I can only guess, yeah. But sometimes when we analyze where is the self, where is my self abides, either in my body or in my mental complex, right? The four mental aggregates. When you search for yourself, for the person, for the I, some tenets, some philosophical schools hold the mental consciousness to be an illustration of the person. Because think, are you your body? When I ask you, are you your body? What would you say?
No.
No. Because there is a feeling that I'm more of my body, right? But am I my mental consciousness? Sometimes we have the feeling of yes, because it seems like the mental processing is like the boss. It instructs the body what to do. It instructs my other mental activities what to do. It seems like the mental consciousness is the boss. And then there is craving to me. And who is me? My mental consciousness.
It's the result of ignorance and karma.
Yes. The
consciousness, not the consciousness, the way that this consciousness exists.
Yes. Yes, it's being contaminated and appropriated under karma and afflictions. Yes, exactly.
It's also possible that attachment to consciousness is attachment to experience. I'm attached to experiencing something.
Also can be.
Attachment to existence.
Yeah. Yeah, and discrimination, I think, is just the way you see reality. I don't really know concrete example, because discrimination is a very basic function. I see the unique features of the object, right? To be able to label it and to have memory and other mental processing on top. So discrimination is a very basic function. So how can I have attachment to this? So probably it goes a bit further to all your mental conceptions that are built on top of discrimination. Yes.
That's to being unique. My unique point of view, but it's not so unique. It's also not so unique, and it's also no need to be attached to it. But I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. So how do we do it? Now, how do we apply? If we don't understand all the five aggregates, take the one that is more accessible to you. Let's start with the body. It's the coarsest. That's why all the texts start with the body, because it's the one that is most easy to analyze. It's the coarsest. How do I destroy my craving for my body or for bodies of others?
Actually, I'm not sure I like the word. Sorry, yeah, I'm not sure I like the word destroy here. Is it possible that maybe decompose is a better word? Because I think destroy suggests instruction that you actually should smash something. And maybe if you decompose, you remember that the emptiness basically of all phenomena, and so they have relations with each other, and there is not something specific, concrete, and independent of something. And if you remember that, then you are trying to find parts of it, I don't know, or some other constituents which cause your desire, and through that.
Okay. So not destroy, but decompose, which means we undermine the causes for attachment to arise by understanding emptiness. Then there's no inherently separate, independent object. There's interdependent processing of so many things together that I cannot find an object to create.
Yes, but I think we do need to destroy the wrong view. We need to decompose it until you destroy it. It no longer exists.
I think karma is very helpful, because attachment is the delusion that happiness can come from outside. And when we understand that happiness is the result of our actions, we understand that it's a delusion.
Yeah. Okay. So understanding karma is also a big help, because then I understand that the root of my happiness is inside, not outside. Then I'm not craving, because if I think that my happiness lies on this person, I feel so pleasant, so nice with the accompanying of someone, that I think that if he's the root of my happiness, then I want to spend all the time with him because I'm very happy with him. Then of course attachment will come. Of course the look is outside. But now we understand, what does it mean? Inner being. Buddhist is an inner being. I want to be happy, look inside. You created the causes, it's just a trigger. And then you don't have such strong push for craving outside because you know you are.
Yeah, it's also the acceptance of I'm ignorant. I probably created my suffering, so accepting it.
Yeah.
Nothing to do.
Yeah, accepting it. That's a lot to do because accepting it, it's very active, huh? It's not something that just, it's a very active process. How else can I work on my, you see, I didn't say destroy, I say work on my attachment to my body or to the bodies of others. What else can we do?
There is this famous Buddhist game.
Russian roulette. No.
But where is me?
Oh, yes.
If we play for 5 minutes trying to find me, it's a Buddhist game.
Yes,
isn't it?
yes.
I think it will
help, right?
Help to get nearer to them.
Yes, yes, yes. Where is myself? A Buddhist game. I look for myself, I cannot find. I look for the other one. Among its aggregates, I cannot find. I cannot pinpoint anything under analysis. And then what my attachment is hooked to what? I couldn't find anything. I'll show you a nice movie on this. What else can I do? Yeah.
The practice we talked about the sex of shit.
Yeah.
Like the body is full of urine and vomit and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
לא יודעת איך אומרים הפרשות באנגלית, אבל כן. Right? They say you take all the substances that are, if you see them outside, are extremely unappealing and you cover them with a little skin with 2 holes and suddenly there's a lot of craving there. If you really think the nature of the body, it's quite ugly, it's quite disgusting. I took the dog of my sister for a walk. And one time I was so happy that I took him in the forest because then I don't need to collect whatever. And one time he was naughty, he was pooping at the entrance of a house. And I said, I cannot do that to others. But I'm not experienced enough with this process. So I took a bag. You took a plastic bag, you collect, you do like this. And I was doing that and I felt so potent that I can do that. But then what I did, big mistake, I moved the bag in front of my face before closing it. My goodness. And then you say, how can somebody, and we have the same things, right? So how come you have really attachment there? We have such a deluded perspective with respect to the body. You don't like this point of view? No,
it's very cute.
But it's okay. The different tools help different people, right?
My dog is so cute, even his poop is cute.
Oh, that is so nice.
Sorry, this is
that is so nice.
Very cute.
I did very nice bonding with the dog of my sister. The poop is a different level. But even this, you practice it closely. And what Ofir is telling us, there is another practice that takes it even a step further. Do you know that there is this practice? It's a mental practice. Mental practice, it means we try to train the mind to approach reality in a different way. Yesterday, I heard a very beautiful example. We talked about understanding fully emptiness, but acting upon it in real life. Somebody told me, when you talk about emptiness, it seems so nice. And I click and I understand, but then I go out and I forget and I behave. And we really need to implement it. And somebody said she's a therapist and she works with people with ADHD and all these thinking disorders. And she said, when you work with them, you really need to train yourself as a therapist to think differently because they think differently. So you approach things that are so automatic in such a different way, and then you click with them. And emptiness is a bit like that. You take your automatic default of seeing things and you try to approach it in a totally different way. So sometimes it seems too repulsive. I don't want to imagine the body like that. When we were in Nalanda and the monk offered that, somebody was really, but I'm married, I cannot look at my husband like that. Yes, sometimes, I don't know. We each one can choose his mental practices, what is beneficial, what is not. But one of them is to really think of the real nature of the body. And the other one is even doing actively, you take the person you're attracted to and you just peel the skin mentally in your mind. You just remove the tiny, tiny little bit layer of skin. Did you see there was an exhibition of bodies, dead bodies?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what is left. So sometimes it really helps. I was playing with that when I was in Tushita the first time and they presented this method, and I remember there was a beautiful girl in the course, really, like, not sexual attraction, but she was so pretty that sometimes you have such beautiful face that you're attracted to look at it, just look at it all the time. And I said, let's try on her, because she was so beautiful. And I was just really trying to see if my mind, if my visualization is strong enough that I can do that. Just peel the little skin. And ever since, I could see her totally different. Really, she looked like a skull to me, ever since.
Wow.
Like it had an effect on her. Listen. You just see how the mind is flexible. The impossible is possible. How the mind is flexible. You can train yourself to very different ways of approaching the object. And what now seems horrible and repulsive, in some situations can give you lots of peace. This is what is offering. You do it differently.
Yeah, I do it differently. I think when there's an attraction, I see like a string that connects me, that I send a string that connects me to the other person, and that's the attraction. And if I cut it off,
Okay.
then I can leave it, and it's for you.
You have peace of mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not feeling
So
the
imagining a play with it, it's nice.
It's like it's much more than, you know,
The
how you
physical
see it,
aspect.
physical
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
What you showed at the beginning, you know, the last one. What you need is what you did in your life.
Yes,
or your behavior or
yes,
something
yes.
like that.
Yes.
Karma.
And this is what I helps me.
Yeah.
When I'm angry or when I see others, now you have a situation.
So, this is what the Buddha is offering us. He says, on one hand, you can cultivate a lot of wisdom why attachment is not good for you. The disadvantages, the prices you pay when you have attachment. On the other hand, you can put seeds of non-attachment by deepening your wisdom, which understanding the reality of things. This is on one hand. On the other hand, you can play with the object that attracts you a lot. Check its nature. And then you destroy the attachment for this, either by understanding emptiness. This is the top level, right? It's the deepest understanding that destroys everything, every delusion. Or by really dealing with what is exactly attracting me. But playing with the object is very interesting because many times we don't dare to touch the object. We think the object is the key of our happiness and is perfect. And he says, no, play with the object as well, examine it a bit.
We can also think about how when the body changes.
Yeah.
Like our bodies, like you think, I'm attached to this body right now, but it's going to get wrinkled and the hair is going to turn gray, or we will have bad skin, and eventually we will die and the body will decompose.
Yeah.
Like even with someone else.
Yes.
It's just like that, it's constantly changing.
Yeah. There are many little movies that they take movie stars of Hollywood, like very well-known ones, and they show them from very young age in a sequence in 20 minutes until very old age. And you see the aging process very quickly. And it's quite amazing to compare. So sometimes it helps your mind not to grasp at the manifestation at the moment because it's such a fluid process. I have a very nice video to show you that shows that I cannot find myself, the little Buddhist game that Gidi said, that when I search for myself among my aggregates, I cannot find it. But how do we do that? This,
תפסיקו, אל תפסיקו. תמשיכו.
לא, לא, אני אפסיק. אני
אבל.
אפסיק. כל עניין של תיעדוף. יש לכם את הלינק, אתם תוכלו למצוא את זה אחר כך? אתם עדיין רואים את המסך? גם בזום רואים, אתה חושב? אוקיי, אז אני רוצה להספיק רק את השיר. אני כבר... I'm already three sessions, I already bring this Zen story about non-attachment and we never have the time. So next week we're going to start with that. But just this one, I really like it. It's exactly what we talked about. So just to say on the movie, you said that wisdom is the ultimate antidote, right? If I understand that my body does not inherently exist, then there's nothing to focus on. When you analyze and you go inside, you really cannot find anything because everything you find, you can further on divide until the, right? So we really don't exist the way we think. And look, some of the poems of the first women who got either nirvana or enlightenment, some of the poems, they wrote their experience, and some of the poems is the things the Buddha told them. So this is a nun called Sandarinada, and things that the Buddha told her. So we'll do in Hebrew and then in English. הביטי בגוף הזה נדה, הוא חולה, הוא מלוכלך, לא טהור. השתמשי בלא נעים הזה כדי לטפח את התודעה. הבחי אותה לממוקדת וקשובה. כך כמו שזה, ככה בדיוק. כך כמו שזה, ככה בדיוק. אם תסתכלי על זה ככה יום ולילה, תמיד בריכוז, יום אחד תראי, ותפרצי את הדרך בעזרת חוכמתך שלך. נכון יפה? וזה בדיוק מה שדיברנו. זה ה-early פאלי קאנון, אני לא יודעת, אין לי את הספר לראות מאוד, זה אחד הכתבים המוקדמים. מזמן. כמו מזמן.
It's very also Vajrayana because you use poison to...
Yeah, in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Buddha says to the nun, look at your body. It's sick, it's dirty, it's impure. Use this unpleasant feeling to cultivate the mind. Make it focused and attentive, just like that. And if you look at it like that, day and night, always focused and concentrated, one day you will see when you open your own path with your own wisdom. This is the... I don't have the origin in English, otherwise I would have given you that. Okay. So there's a lot of food for thought from each session. Is there somebody who would like to share some of his thoughts or ideas or stories or comments? So I was thinking that we can finish the session today with mantras of Medicine Buddha. Because, you know, when Medicine Buddha was a bodhisattva, he cultivated for eons the wish or the prayer that everybody who would just see him, Medicine Buddha, or say his name, or say his mantra, will get a healing aspect. This will pacify the pains of body and mind. This will pacify the pain of family who supports the person. And I think now it's a time that so many people are suffering.
In the bardo also.
In the bardo. Also, yeah, Medicine Buddha is very effective also for people who passed away and they are in the bardo at the moment. And I was thinking that we can do a visualization of Medicine Buddha if you would like. You can visualize Medicine Buddha. He's blue in color. He holds in one hand, he holds a flower that is a medicinal plant, and he holds a bowl that is also medicinal nectar. And he's blue in color. You can either visualize him or you just visualize a ball of blue light. And the process is that this blue light becomes like nectar and it just pours from him through the top of our head and it fills our body. And when it fills our body, it dissolves any pain, any stress, any distress, any problem, it dissolves and our body becomes a body of light. It is a healing light. And then when we feel that we are in peace, we send it outside. From the heart chakra, we send blue light, and it's like the rays of the sun. It reaches everywhere. And be very specific with the way you spread it. Think of somebody you know, like I think of somebody I know in the hospital, then I think of all the people in the hospital, in this floor, in this department, in other departments, in all the hospitals in the world, in all the family members that needs to support, in all the friends that are, in all the therapists that accompany people and maybe their mind is wounded, in all the people who want to help and don't know how, all the people who needs peace of mind. Think of all the people who passed away and are in the bardo. Think from very concrete, as wide as you can, send this healing energy. And what we do is we try to keep our heart open and wide through touching the pain. This is the process. We are willing to touch the pain, and it can be painful, but it also can be healing because we send love and healing. And I'll put the mantras on the background. It's 7 minutes, so I will not guide you through the process. Each one does it in its own rhythm, its own things, and we have the mantras on the back. Okay? So
Tayata om bekanze maha bekanze ranza samungate swaha. 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 Tayata om bekanze maha Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ranza Samgati Swaha
May all the merit we accumulated together be a cause for peace and harmony and well-being for each and every sentient being in this area and in the entire world. May we keep on accumulating the collective karma of studying the Dharma together, cultivating the heart, opening the heart, so we can always stay on the path, be Dharma friends for each other, and progress for the benefit of others. Thank you.
Thank you, Yael.
תודה רבה.